This is basically an underlook. It's an underlook with a gi. And I want you to put your weight on me. And all I'm going to do is pull up. And now you're in the perfect position if you put your weight on me at all. And I come up with the bicep lock. So there's a bicep lock. The minute I start doing this, switching, keeping his wrist forward, I put all my hips on. So there's a bicep lock as well. So to pass it, you basically go in that direction. You go over here.
Go that way?
Yes.
Right.
You've got to be mindful of this, so if I do this, level your shoulders, put your shoulders in level. Yeah. Just keep your shoulders level so I can't flip you. That's all really. So as you come around that way, be careful that you don't let your shoulders go from being flat to this, because that can happen. That's about the only thing I've got. So once you start walking around, you just got to keep your shoulders really level. But if you pass towards what looks like the open side, it's a gambit. It's a conjure. So I want you to pass this way. It's almost impossible to pass this way. There's always somebody who will fucking cross face out, but even here, I can reset. So just by backward rolling, it's just you're basically turning yourself into a ball and wanting him to drop his weight and elbows back and trying to keep that hand as, without really gripping it hard. I'm going to get it here. And then every time he comes around, I'm looking to fall into him. I go into it. And I can take him that way to put his arm. There's a sneaky plot transition as well off of this. Just depends on where he moves. But you need to be aware of that. Because you'll get guys, particularly in gi tournaments, will just try and wrap that arm up and they'll just sit there for the duration of the contest, just trying to score points on you of being difficult advantages and looking at the referee all the time like they're attacking and you're being static. So you can't go on this, you're not going round. You go short side. And I'd encourage you to try and play it as well. Play it from the bottom. It's pretty effortless, it's an entanglement. So.
Can you show us how to get the entry into it again?
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, a lot of the time it comes in the fight part. You know, you want to get a platter. So I'm trying to get my leg under here, I want to platter him. And they start tightening this arm up. So they start keeping it in. So if they start keeping the elbow in, you go over the top of it.
So you're just blocking it, yeah?
Yeah, I'm just putting it through here and then I pull it.
I mean, what was that thing? I was trying to do it on the outside of the knee like that. But you can't lock it, just slip it past, don't you?
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, well, I get it. So the idea with that now, if you go that way, their arm's stuck.
Their arm is stuck,
yeah.
and you've got this hook on this hip.
Yeah.
So effectively, what you're doing is you're putting it into a forward roll. And you see really like top guys in the past have tried to keep passing this way, and it's just the problem with it is as long as it's all right if I flatten, but if I stay in a ball, it's really hard for him to put weight on me.
Because that shoulder's always compromised, isn't it? That one's always like that.
And if he tries to come the other way, as I said, there's the platter as well. So if he tries to come like with his body shape downwards, anything like this, I can keep this elevated, I can recover, and in the transitions, what will happen with this? So it's a nice way to sort of buy yourself like some time to think from the bottom. You get it.
You can get that on the way out of closed guard, couldn't you?
Yeah, there's Lasso players who just literally close guard and they open into it.
Right.
In jiu-jitsu tournaments, you can't. It's no use in a real a real fight with someone who can fight, but because you're not really controlling the distance. But it's a nice entanglement. It's pretty efficient. And that's the thing with entanglements, is you're trying to just not really burn any energy and let the entanglement get stuck in the web. exhaust themselves, and then when they're really exhausted, that's when you're trying to do as little as possible with it. So you need to be aware of which side to pass the lasso, and it's always by going that way you untangle the arm as well. Is there anything else on today's session?
I was just going to, the question I was going to ask is when on that last roll, you obviously tied up that lasso, but before that, when you just sort of took a grip on there, it just felt like you were pulling my arms away from the hips. It just made it a lot harder to, just felt like, I was just wondering if that's what, you were taking those grips, not to take a grip, but just to sort of open me up a little bit.
I've realised most of the time when I don't pass, at all levels, when I don't get the pass, it's because their feet get on my hips.
Yeah.
It's pretty much everything. They get something on a hip.
Yeah.
And if they stop your hip extending, then they can, and they move, you know, you're susceptible.
I just felt like I was just concentrating on that a bit, and then making mistake after mistake after doing it.
The thing is like a lot of the time we sort of try to climb somebody's guard, which works as long as they don't get on your hip.
Yeah.
At the moment, like you push my hips back a couple of times, I have to reset, and you almost always where your arms just start to do this, and you start leaving this gap. It's always these little gaps, and then he gets a foot on the hip, pushes you back, you have to start again. And it doesn't matter if you pass a guy's guard really quickly. If he's made you reset a couple of times, somebody better will make you know, cause you real problems, because that was your chance. So this overreaching, just like with the heel getting away from the knee, the elbows getting away from the hips, is the same thing. The really interesting thing for me is when you watch someone like Tyson move, even now, the compactness of his elbows and his hips when he throws. The beauty of jiu-jitsu is that once you really understand these fundamental biomechanics, you could be a better striking coach than most of the striking specialists out there, because they just don't understand basic mechanics. They just have their way that they've learned, and they have a few champions and whatever, and they build their rep off of it. But you watch Tyson; he's just so compact. His elbows and his hips are just always connected. So when he's throwing, he's not hitting you with his arm; he's hitting you with his hip. And if you compare that to somebody like Nigel Benn, who I like watching a lot, when you look at Hagler, you know, Hagler and Tyson at their best were so much more compact. Nigel Benn used to throw these huge haymakers, and he was very entertaining. And he was, you know, he was obviously very talented, but there was a lot of disconnection between his a lot of the time between his elbows and his hips. He wasn't compact. It's just an efficiency in that. So it's just the same thing really. You're trying not to overreach all the time in jiu-jitsu. You're only extending when it's advantageous to do so. Other than that, you're just trying to stay compact. Stop their joints connecting. Cheers everyone.